Well, I recorded this and the microphone did not work, so I might as well do a narration. I've never done a narration of my own videos like this. I'm headed towards Duna. I have the launch window planner by Alex Moon on github.io up, and it told me to warp to year 29, day 101, hour 3. I decided that 100 days in and 0 hours was good enough, and so I just didn't care about getting it exact, I guess. And I'm going to look through a couple of my ships to decide which one to do. And I'm going to click on the wrong one because I can't remember, because I've made so many that I called Cheap09. This is on normal career mode, and in most normal career modes I'm okay with reverts, and I'm a little fast and loose because I'm fine with that, but I didn't really do a whole lot of planning to keep my costs down. Here my ship's 4,500-ish in cost. You're going to see me mess around with it. I'm going to get it to closer to 55-ish, I think, when I'm done. And you'll see later in the video that I actually waste a lot of money because I don't need to bring this big of a ship. I have a full upper stage and booster behind it, so 2 upper stages when I get to Ike. I'm actually going to Ike to do scientific data recovery in space around Ike. As you can see, I just pulled up the contracts to remind myself what I'm even doing. And I talk about how I'm, need to make sure I've got solar panels and data or science stuff, and then I can communicate back and forth. I talk myself into getting some more boosters. It's kind of unnecessary in hindsight, but whatever. I was playing super fast and cheap, didn't care a whole lot, and so you're gonna see me add this non-relay antenna. I just need to have a smaller, lighter antenna, but one that can talk at a good distance in case I need to actually do it in between Kerbin and Duna tweak of my, why can't I think of the words, my trajectory, correction, a correction burn. Anyway, so here I am adding that whatever that part, the stabilizer is called, reaction wheel. And first time I made this Cheap09, I just completely forgot about that, and when I got out in space I could not turn to make my solar panels reach place. Here I am doing a rough estimate. I need like 5,000 ish to get to Ike, and I have way more than I need, so I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna have more than I need, and that's fine. But I then talk myself into getting a bigger upper stage anyway, because why not? Why not bring more fuel? And here I'm like, well, if I made my upper stage bigger and I've flown this before, maybe I need more boosters, because boosters are great. Let's put some more side boosters on there. Of course, I'm editing my fairing to go around this different relay or non-relay antenna, and here we go. Here's me adding some boosters. I'm like, yeah, let's get some more boosters on here and make sure we can get to space today. Just checking out, making sure I got my checklist done. I got my solar panels, got my science equipment, got a Communitron that can go 61.2 gigameters, and I got my staging right, it looks like. No idea what that extra coupler is at the bottom. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. It doesn't. And I do make one attempt to take off, and haven't flown this particular booster in a while, so I don't really remember exactly what I want to do. But I get it in my head that, hey, maybe I should throttle back the booster so that in the lower part of the atmosphere I'm letting this extra solid boosters do its job, because I clearly brought way too much thrust. I mean, I started off close to 2 Gs of thrust. That's way more than I need. 1.2 is kind of mostly optimal. If you bring more than that, then you usually brought too much engine and not enough fuel. And if you do under, then usually you're spending way too much on fuel and not enough on engines. But here I have not made any sort of turn, and I'm already at 7 kilometers and 400 meters per second, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just waiting for this atmosphere thing to go, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to turn. And you're gonna see that I did not bring any Separatrons on my side boosters. My side boosters are gonna run into my main booster and explode. Here it comes. Boom. Oh man. Anyway, like I said, I am playing normal career. Normally when I'm playing normal career, I am totally fine with reverts, because I basically treat it like I just did a simulator. And that's kind of meta because I'm playing a simulator. Anyway, so this one I do a little bit of turn earlier. I'm totally fine with too much acceleration. I just don't care at this point, because I know that I brought too much fuel with me, and that and boosters, and that I could have probably just gone to space with just that center core if I didn't care about bringing too much delta V, keeping my costs down. I don't even remember how much I actually make from this mission, but I'm only spending 55,000, so I'm probably going to make some money. Mostly just doing it because I have the contract and I don't want to abandon it. And here I am turning even more now that I'm at 23 kilometers. It's time to get closer to horizontal. I still have it blows up there, but it didn't break my engine. So I should probably actually add some Separatrons, if I'm going to even use boosters at all, side boosters on this. That's why side boosters are dangerous. I mean, you can have stuff fall off them onto your current existing boosters. Just having a nice single tower of staging is a little bit safer, just from a design perspective. Alright, you can see I have a lot of things flying around in space from all those network lines. I think I turned that off in a few minutes, but here I am going as horizontal as I can, because my apoapse is already way higher than it needs to be, at 120 or something like that kilometers. Now that I'm in space, I'm going to jettison my fairing. I don't really like doing that earlier than when I get to 70, because I kind of treat 70 as, okay, now I'm in space, now I can get rid of my fairing. Before then, I could actually, jettison it and not destroy the stuff in my upper stages, but I don't know. Like, if I'm going to have a simulator that says, okay, there's no air at 70, I might as well treat that as when I can actually deploy my fairings. So now I'm just kind of facing the right direction, and almost 5 Gs, coming up on 5 Gs, 50 meters per second, and I'm fairly circular. Now I'm just looking for where the sun is and where Dune is. Need to set my target, and then roughly add where I'm going to do my starting maneuver. I need 1,041 meters per second ejection delta V, with an ejection angle of 143 degrees to prograde and an ejection inclination of 3.3. And I didn't actually get everything perfect. I mean, we're not even launching at the right time. I launched a day and 3/4 early anyway. So I'm mostly going to get there without a whole lot of fuss. But here I am at 1,002 meters per second. My launch window planner, I put it like 100 kilometers, and I think I'm at 130 or something like that. So that's why I don't need quite as much delta V. And I'm not really close to the ascending or descending node, so I have so much fuel that I'm just going to do a mid-course correction. You can see that with the new 1.6, the delta V, they actually tell you stage 4 is going to handle all 1002.9 of my delta V that I need, and in 18 seconds of burn time. I mean, I'm basically going to be going 5 Gs from the get-go. I already know that because I was going 5 Gs when I turned my engine off last. And it's time, warp time. I haven't deployed my solar panels because I like to do that after I've started my my transfer orbit. I don't like to do it while I'm doing all these burns with this huge booster on. I mean, most of the time it doesn't really matter, but I just prefer waiting, and because I have the electric charge. I got 150 something electric charge still. And any space program that actually is using this large of a booster to do their transfer orbit, they definitely they did something wrong. I mean, I basically put the equivalent of like the entire Falcon 9 first stage into orbit, and then I'm using it to get to Mars. Like, that's just ridiculous. Because I strapped 4 solid boosters on the side of it, when in reality I shouldn't even have gotten to orbit with this thing. I should have been circularizing and doing my transfer burn with that Terrier engine above it. Anyway, I overshot just a little bit and don't have a intercept with Duna anymore, so here I am turning around and getting my retrograde in my sights, and I'm not even gonna do an actual maneuver node and figure it out. I'm just gonna put the brakes on a little bit and see my flyby get there. There it is. I just barely tapped shift and then control to get just the tiniest bit, and you can see I still have tons of fuel. So now I'm putting out my solar panels. I extend my satellite dish because I feel like it's a little bit more legit when you do that. And it's time to do some accelerating time. Okay, so I had a decent flyby, but I didn't actually have anywhere close to an intercept with Ike. And like I said, I'm not really close to the ascending node, descending node. When I notice that, I should probably look for that, I'm way past it. I probably was really close to it when I started my initial transfer burn, and could have made it a little bit closer. But when I was originally doing that fixing of the flyby, I wasn't really getting a whole lot closer. So whatever. I'm just gonna do it here. Just need a little nudge, little taparoo. There's my Ike flyby. Here I'm trying to figure out, is flying in front of it or behind it gonna be better? I'm kind of waffling a little bit, and I think I settle on flying in front of it because it makes it more of a radial in towards the Duna orbit, and I'm gonna have to slow down a bunch. And here I'm just like, I don't I already brought way too much delta V. It would be ridiculous to do my slowdown at Ike when all I need is an Ike flyby. I mean, I didn't even need an upper stage any of this. Like, if I had just brought that much weight instead of my Terrier engine and my Ant engine and those fuels, if I brought a bunch of science stuff, I could have gotten way more science in orbit of Ike. But whatever. And here I would be flying through Ike, so I'm like, okay, I need to not do that. Just kind of turn around from where I was facing, and I'm just like, whatever, I don't care if it's in front of or behind Ike. I have way too much delta V. And I figure I might as well turn off a bunch of seeing a bunch of stuff in my view here. There's way too much going on. Going out to Duna or Eve is not too time intensive in real human time. I really wish that getting out to Jewel and Elu wasn't so painful, because I like going out to Jewel the most, I think. And I really just need to make sure I'm facing the sun so that my solar panels fill up my electricity. And my contract is to just transmit science data from Ike, which, and here I am checking to make sure I got it. I got it. Just for good measure, make sure we got stuff there. We already have it, so whatever. Okay, so now it's time to fly low, maybe land. And so I want to make sure that I have both the sun for my solar panels and a relay. And so I'm going to circularize. I have plenty of sun and relay to do that. And then I just need to time warp a little bit until my landing is going to be while I'm in the sun and have connectivity to my relay. Because I think that I probably can hit from here back to Kerbin direct. But I prefer to just, make sure my local relay, which is currently around the equator of Duna, that it has connectivity, because I might fly in between Kerbal and Kerbin and lose connectivity. I don't know. I haven't even looked at the map at all to see where Kerbin is. Anyway, Ike is pretty small. I can't remember if it's pretty similar to Moon. I think it's a little bit less than Moon. Yeah, I think the orbit around Moon is more like 500 meters per second, so Ike must be like quarter its size or something. 290 meters per second. And I feel like just bringing back some of the things on the map for a minute. Alright, time warp until I'm in the sun and have a good relay connection. That's where I wanted to have been, so whatever. Now is where I actually am going to slow down until I get a roughly 11 kilometer periaps on the sunny side, where I'm going to have access to my relays. I've got so much fuel left. I don't even think I burned through half of, yeah, I haven't even burned through half of that fuel. And burning through half your fuel does not mean burning through half your delta V. So I've used like a quarter of my delta V or something stupid. So I get my flying low, temperature and pressure scan. I have so much fuel with this Terrier, I'm just going to try landing. So I get my orbit down to like 3 meters per second, time warp to drop. And Ike is similar to our moon, tidally locked. So if you land on a side facing Duna and you just time warp, it'll actually just always see Duna. Or if you land on the far side, it will always never see Duna. It actually wobbles just a little bit, so if you land in that sweet spot between the far side and the near side, it actually, Duna kind of wobbles in the sky. It's kind of cool. Not sure exactly how that works out. I hadn't studied tidally locking or anything seriously enough to explain how it wobbles like that, but I'm guessing that it's just slightly, maybe it's not slightly circular in the orbit around Duna, but it's got the period such that it matches Duna's, Ike's rotational speed. And I landed on a good enough surface. I'm gonna grab my science, call it good. And I've got so much fuel, I can do some hops, but I don't feel like recording anymore, especially since I did not actually get my audio to